Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to another episode of Wake Up American. This is your daily American English pronunciation show where we help you make sure you get in your 5 to 10 minutes of pronunciation practice in. Because if your goal is really trying to make significant change in your pronunciation, that is what it takes. That's what so many of our services are about. We're about trying to give you access to American English pronunciation every single day with guidance from us. So that way we can help you achieve your desired pronunciation goals to guide you in that process. Hello, my name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the four keys to an American English accent, including placement, breath, pitch, trying to weaken your consonant sounds to strengthen your vowel sounds. Those are the keys that you need as you practice every day to achieve a more natural sound. And today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be really focusing on a couple of words that people are commonly confusing. So that way we can help make sure that we're avoiding those sorts of mistakes and things like that. A lot of these have differences according to vowel sounds that we want to be mindful of. So making sure that we're pronouncing the correct vowel for the situation. And that way we'll be able to get a more natural sound. So as we go through these, I'll just make some quick notes about the words. And then if you're interested in actually seeing if you're pronouncing these things right, I encourage you to check out our pronunciation group on Telegram. On Telegram, what happens every single day, I send in a group of words. Looks like this. And you can reply with your own audio and you get feedback. Currently, we have 4 spots left in our group. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, you're interested in getting some feedback on your sound to see if you're pronouncing these words or any words we talk about correctly or any words you're studying, that is your opportunity to do so. So let's take a look again at our words here. We'll kind of just go pair by pair. If you have specific questions, you can always let us know. Our first word is desert. Desert. This is the sandy one. Think like the Sahara, or think like for instance like Death Valley in the US. Desert versus dessert. The second one, dessert, the sweets. So again, desert, dessert. This has to do with stress for desert, with the sand. Then you want to stress that first syllable with dessert, with the sweet and the sugar. You want to stress the second. The way I like to think about it is dessert has a lot more sugar. Sugar starts with an S. So like dessert has like a lot more sugar and sweets and things like that. So that's why it has those extra S's. Whereas desert has less water, so it's less. So there's only one S. That's how I think of it. I would say try to think of any, as we go through these words, try to think of any sort of thing that helps you remember these. That's going to make your life easier. Our next pair here. So we have where, which you could spell Where or Wear. Because both of us pronounce the same. Where, they rhyme with air. Where. One thing I will note is that when I'm saying that, where, notice that my lips are actually relatively straight. I don't have to go crazy rounding. It's not where. It can just be where. That might help you control your vowel more. Versus the second one, the past tense, were. So again, where and were. Where, were. Our next word. So our first one there is going to be wonder. You see that schwa sound at the start. That O is making a schwa sound, so we're wonder. That's by far the more frequent word. By far. So if you only have time to study one of these, study the first one, because that's just going to be way more frequent. And then the second word is going to be wander. Wander with an ah sound. Wander. So again, wander. This can also be a point of confusion because if your placement's too high when you're making your schwa sound, when you're saying wonder, this is the problem. Your listener is going to hear an ah sound. So you might be trying to say wonder, but if your placement goes high, it's going to sound like wah versus wah wonder. So watch out for those two. So wonder, wander, wonder, wander. Our next pair here. So we have sell, the verb, sell, sell. Dark L sound at the end. I'm doing that to my tongue down. L, sell, L, sell. Versus sail, sail. A lot of people are confusing the vowel with the a vowel. These are two different sound. You see these in words like, for instance, test versus taste, or men versus main. This is your S sound versus your A sound. Okay, so sell, sail, sell, sail. Notice too that the A vowel is a long vowel. So that means that when we link it with the letter L, that's why you're hearing that shift, like ale, ale, sail. You're hearing that shift because A is a long vowel. Next couple, we have want, again an ah sound, but this time we're going to be comparing it with won't. So again, want, won't, want, won't. So want, again, having that ah sound. Another recommendation as well is that when you're making that want sound, that ah, really trying to keep things open. Ah, wah, want, ah, wah, want, ah, wah, want. Okay. You don't need to round your lips. It's not wah, it's just wah, wah. You keep your lips a little straighter. It might help control your vowel better. Versus the O sound, won't, won't. Again, I don't need to do like whoa, where you can hear my place to just shoot forward and everything close. I don't have to do that. I can just say won't, won't. So again, want, won't, want, won't. Watching out for that. Our next pair, we have warm. Warm. That's the first word. The root is like, for instance, war, war, warm, war, warm. The next one is the animal that lives in the ground, in the earth. It's the worm, worm. This is similar to the past tense of the verb to be, were. So again, were, worm for the last word. Let's do the pair. Warm, worm, warm, worm. It's like comparing war and were, war, were, warm, worm, warm, worm. Again, if you could say war and were, then you could say warm and worm. Hopefully. Our next pair is the singular. Start with the singular, then the plural. We have woman, woman, w, then followed by women, women, which has more of a short I sound. So we have w versus we, woman, women, woman, women. Hope that makes sense. So again, the sound versus the sound. Followed by, this tends to confuse a lot of people spelling wise because it's not very often where you have two letter E's that make this sound. But hey, it's English, so anything is possible. These two E's are going to make a short I, so it's going to make an sound. So, be, ben. That first word sounds like ben. The second one is the one that's going to have the E sound. That's going to be bean. So, ben, bean, ben, bean. Okay, so watch out for those. Ben, bean, ben, bean, ben, bean. And then the last one. So we have similar confusion. E sound versus an I sound. Just the opposite order. So it's he's, his, he's, his. So again, E, he for the first word, I, he for the second word. Okay, so he's, his. Let's kind of just run through these really quick. I see we have some questions. I'll try to get those in a moment. So we have desert, dessert, where, were, wonder, wander, sell, sail, want, won't, warm, worm, woman, women, been, bean, he's, his. And once more, if you're trying to get some practice, you're not sure, man, am I doing these words right? Are people going to understand me when I say them? Good questions. I want to try to help you out. So that's why we have, again, our pronunciation group on Telegram with a couple spots left. We have 4 openings that you can take advantage of if that sounds like something you want to get feedback on and for your pronunciation. Let's try to address a couple of things that did come in. And of course, in case you're watching this on the replay, if you have other combinations that you'd like to see in a future video, just leave them in the comments. But
Question.
what's our first one here? So, Mayo's joining us. Good to see you, sir. Mayo's asking, what about the desert? Like if you desert the army. Yeah, if you say desert as a verb form, you're going to put the stress on the second syllable. That's typically what you see. If you see combinations of words that can be a noun or a verb, it's like, for instance, we see this with desert or desert, like I deserted the army. I left the army and didn't tell anyone. That would be what's happening. You see another common example is like record versus record, where with record, the noun, you stress the first syllable, record, and then with record, the verb, you stress the second syllable. So record, record. That's just another example. Emmanuel also asking
Question.
about warm and worm. I would say definitely be careful about how you pronounce these. Worm, that's the word I particularly see students struggling with, is with worm, the creature that lives under the ground. That one, because a lot of people are having a hard time pronouncing that vowel sound. So the biggest point of comparison I can give you is, again, I would treat it as like were as your root, were like the past tense of the verb to be. If you can get that sound and then attach an M to it, you'll pronounce it in a way that native speakers in North America will be able to understand most easily. So again, I would treat the second word as worm. Worm, it's a worm. All right, I think those are all the questions that I see. All right, guys. We will be back tomorrow with more Wake Up American. Again, this is our daily pronunciation show where we try to answer pronunciation questions you have, give you some topics, and most importantly, give you some of that daily pronunciation practice, because if you take a day off, you're going to feel it. It's going to slow things down. So make sure that you're keeping in touch with us if you're looking for daily practice. Once more, my name is Jeff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the 4 keys to a natural sound in American English. I want to thank you for joining us today, as always. There's a million pronunciation resources out there, so the fact you spent some time with us, greatly appreciated. Hope to see you tomorrow. You guys take care. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon. Thank you to Believe. Appreciate you. Thanks for saying that. Thanks also to Emmanuel for stopping by. Always good to see you guys. Take care. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon.